I'm Mark Matthews with Republic Ranches, sitting here with Craig Biggio, owner of the Cambo Ranch. So, you played with the Houston Astros your whole career?
I did.
How was that?
It was I didn't, when you get drafted, you don't know who's going to draft you. You want to get drafted. And then obviously I didn't know much about Texas other than until I got here. And then since then, I've been here for close to 40 years now and absolutely love it.
So, you consider yourself a Texan now?
It depends on who you talk to. If you talk to Lance Berkman says that you're not a true Texan because you weren't born in Texas. So my kids are true Texans. But whenever I see Lance, I go, "Am I a true Texan yet?" Because I've kind of been here for almost 40 years, and he goes, not yet, not yet." Anyway, but I consider myself a true Texan because, I've been here for 40 years and love it.
Well, maybe not being here for 40 years probably wouldn't get you in that category, but owning a South Texas ranch gets you there.
I hope so.
So, welcome to Texas.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I got one vote. That's good. Okay, I mean, I got drafted in 1987, and then I went to Asheville, North Carolina, and it was one of the most funnest times I've had in my life with a bunch of guys that were really good baseball players, and we lost like 10 games in the second half. So I got drafted, went there, we lost 10 games, and then we lost a heartbreaking series in the playoffs in a 7-game series. Next year, I went to big league camp. I'm around guys like Nolan Ryan, Yogi Berra. I mean, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this is a little different than being in college or A-ball or whatever. So I had a nice spring. I went to AAA. Alan Ashby got hurt halfway through the year, and I got called up, and then the rest was history. I pretty much went to stay with the Astros my 20-year playing career. Very loyal and faithful to one city, one team, one organization. They were great to me. The fan base was great to me. And the biggest goal that I always had was, let's just get to a World Series. There was never a Texas team to ever get to a World Series or win a World Series. And we were the first team to get there, even though we didn't win it. But it was pretty special to, during a course of a 20-year career, give that back to a fan base that never seen a World Series before. And it, like I said, it didn't go how we wanted it to go, but it was pretty cool to experience it. And then obviously since then, we've had a lot of success under Jim Crane's ownership. Well, I think hitting leadoff was a little bit different. It was a little bit different when I was playing than it is nowadays. I mean, you got to remember, so we're in the National League, so usually you have a catcher that hits eighth, and then you have a pitcher. So that's who you're dealing with as far as a leadoff hitter. So when the lineup rolls over, a lot of times, you're looking at, you have 2 outs and you have to get a hit in order to drive in a run. Nowadays, you've got leadoff hitters, you got 9 hitters in the league. So it's a little bit different from that aspect of it. But it was, Larry Durker was the one that came and he said, "Hey, I'm going to have you lead off every day." And I'm like, "Okay, but this is what you want and what's good for the team, then that's what we're going to do." And I probably did that for probably about 60% of my career, and it was fun. And it was kind of like, you never knew whether you're going to swing at that first pitch or not. But sometimes you threw it right there, you swing at it, and you're 0 for 1 or 1 for 1. Yeah, the doubles were good. Yeah, the doubles just happened. I don't know why. It was just the way my swing was. I can hook a ball in the corner, hook one in the gap, put your head down and run, and hopefully turn a single into a double at times. The hit by pitch was one that everybody's like, "Oh, you wore a big arm guard and you tried to get hit." I said, I didn't. I went up with the intent of trying to get a hit, not be hit. But my weakness was low and away. So I would stand on the plate to take that outer half away. I caught, so I understand pitchers are going to come inside and throw inside, and you're going to get hit every now and then. It's going to be part of the game. But then I realized, okay, if you get hit by a pitch, your objective is as a leadoff hitter is to score runs. Get in scoring position, and hopefully Baggy or Lance or somebody like that can drive you in. So it worked out very well from that aspect. But I wasn't trying to get hit. People think, "Oh, you try to get hit." No, I just understood that this is part of the game. And I had a big leg kick, and by the time I had to make a decision to get out of the way, most of the time it was too late. So there was a lot of times. Yeah, it was, that group was a great bunch of guys where, we spring training, we would probably have, Baggy, Billy Spires, myself, Cammy, we would go, what do you do with the rest of your day? You get up in the morning, you're at spring training, you're not playing in that game, your day is done at noon. What do you do? So we would go to the Disney lakes and we go fishing. And I didn't grow up with fishing, so I learned a lot about fishing just in these Disney lakes and stuff like that, and bass fishing. And Daryl Kyler would go, and we would, so, from that aspect of it in the outdoors, there's a lot of baseball players that are big fishermen, big hunters. They just love getting outside. They love it's kind of like, for me, this is my escape. It's just kind of like, there's so much pressure as a baseball player. There's so much pressure, for your team and your family, your fans, and then, getting an opportunity to come to a ranch and get away for a little while is it's something that I truly treasure because it's so quiet and peaceful and stuff like that. But as far as my teammates are concerned, we had a lot of things in common from that aspect of it, and from the fishing side of things, the hunting side of things, and there's always good stories to tell about. What'd you see this off season, or how big of a fish did you catch, and then you just go into your season, and when you get an opportunity to go fish, you do it. You learn a lot from your mistakes, just like in baseball, you learn from your mistakes. But same thing with bow hunting. You're getting up early, the wind, and how far are you walking into your stand without driving to your stand? Deer can hear your car and all that other stuff. So that was a good introduction to actually just getting involved in the outdoors and learning about deer itself, and respecting the deer and respecting the wildlife. The more time that you spend on your ranch, about your ranch. You learn it, it. When the rains come and the storms come and the cold comes and the wind and how it's blowing and all these things you get to learn over time. So this place has been a magical place for myself and my family, and we've truly. I can't say how many great memories and fun memories we've had here, and laughs that we have here. It's unspeakable.
Well, if your kids were that young when you bought it and you've owned it that long, you pretty much raised your kids, especially during hunting season, on this ranch.
So the kids, you learn from the aspect of how do you maintain a piece of property. It's kind of like the property is kind of like a baseball. You respect. In baseball, you respect the other team. Here, you respect in the wildlife. You respect in the land. It's how our animals live in. You gotta have water. We had a drought right in the beginning when I first bought it, and I was like, okay, that's not gonna ever happen again. So now you got to drill a couple water wells to make sure the animals get water. But to be able to teach your kids, to get them out of the city and then get them down here and get them to a point where there's how to drive a zero turn, how to drive a tractor, how to hook up an implement, how to build a bow blind, how to build hog panels around your feeders. There's just so many things that you're just not going to do in the city. And then if you build something, you don't like it, you can always knock it down and then just build it again and do it again. But how to use a screw gun, how to use a hammer, the difference between a nail and a screw and all that. And these are things that we don't take for granted because we grew up like that. But today's kids, they don't have the opportunity to get out of the city a little bit, and they don't understand it. And here, the memories that we've had here have been priceless.
What drew you? Because South Texas is a big place.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the eco region, it encompasses millions of acres. And this ranch is located south of Sabinal, so it's more in the central north part of the main eco region. But what drew you towards this part, west of San Antonio, south of Sabinal?
I wanted a distance. I had a checklist. It was a checklist of how far, no more than 4 hours away from Houston. I wanted water, and we got 2.5 miles of the Sabinal River here, and we got a little over a mile of the Blanco Creek in the back. I didn't want a lot of neighbors, and I wanted an opportunity to buy a piece of dirt that I could build on. And then this checked all the boxes and the stuff that I wanted, and then we were able to make it work. And then for 20 something years, it's been so much fun to be able to do the things that we've been able to accomplish here and do. And my kids absolutely love it here. They grew up here. So you got to remember, their childhood was here. They were 7, 8, 9. Now they're 30 years old people, and the memories here are the same memories that we have as a family. They're just pretty special.
The work you've done from a deer standpoint, because that was your emphasis and your main draw to owning a ranch was, whitetail deer hunting. And as you matured in your experience with whitetail deer hunting on your own ranch, and you told me your stories. Tell me a little bit about the sequence of events. You started with the native deer herd, low fence. Somewhere along the way, people tend to get frustrated because either a neighbor or something, they can't get age on the deer, so then the fence goes up. And then as you learn more, what did you do to enhance the whitetail deer here?
Well, I mean, when we first bought it, again, I mean, you're talking about South Texas, so there's big genetics that were already here, and then you start feeding, corn and protein year round. The native deer get bigger and bigger. So the native deer that were here were already they're already good deer. When I first bought it, the deer industry was not as far along as it is now. Now it's a lot further along. We were all more educated on it, and so I owned it for about 10 years. And then I said to my wife, I go, what, honey, what do you think about maybe if we'll sell it, maybe get another place closer? And then she's like, this place is beautiful. It's so magical for all the reasons that you were saying earlier. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to stay, I'm going to high fence it because I want to grow some big deer. Okay. And I don't really like shooting them. I just like growing them. And I just love collecting the shed horns, and that's like my hunting season. But I like to see what a baby fawn will turn into, become a 7.5, 8-year-old deer. So we did this. The high fence went up, I say 10 or 12 years ago, and I think it's one of the best decisions that I ever made here, just from the standpoint of it's like building a baseball team. You want to keep the best players. And then, when you have the little lesser players, you have to get rid of them. So it's kind of the deer industry is kind of the same thing. When you got a cull buck's got to go, but you want to keep the Lance Berkman and the Jeff Bagwell sitting around because they're pretty good players. So those are pretty good deer. So the aspect of you're not always going to get it right, but as you do this long enough, you learn it's a long game. You just gotta, you gotta let the deer go. You gotta let them grow, and you gotta let them mature into who they are. And then, have their gene get spread around as time goes on. You can put your son, when you can put your son in a deer stand, and I give him a target buck, and I'm like, is so-and-so there? Yes. Do you want to take him? And you're like, because he's a mature deer, 7.5, 8 years old. And I'm like, do you want to shoot him? And then you watch a kid that can't even type no more, and his heart's coming out of his chest. And you're like, I could shoot that deer. And, that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Or, or bringing out little kids out to hunt and having them harvest their first deer, their first cull deer. They'll never forget it. It's like catching their first fish. Like, you never forget that stuff. So for me to be a landowner and watch my son that's 30 years old at the time turn into a 12-year-old after he was able to harvest the special magical deer, or watch a 7.5-year-old shoot an 8-point buck for his first deer, was like, I mean, that's why I love the most about it.
So you've expressed to me of a couple of things about what you want in a buyer as well. And you're we're going to sell the ranch to somebody that wants this, but it's important that somebody that has the same values that you do. I got one question. You said you're really loyal to the Houston Astros. What if a Texas Ranger fan wants to buy this ranch?
I'm okay with it, as long as he's a hunter and he's a guy that, I mean, I like Ranger. I mean, I like everybody, you know what I mean? Obviously I love the Houston Astros, but I want somebody to come. I want somebody to take this place over that has the same love and the same passion, and they're going to get the same memories. And that's what you do it for. It's the memories that you get when you get a little kid when he's on the four-wheeler for the first time. And you can't get the smile off their face because they're on a four-wheeler, and it's just a little four-wheeler, and then they grow up into bigger people. And so for me, the buyer, you're going to create your own memories here, and then you're going to love it. It's been a family-run ranch for 22, 23 years. And, hopefully the next person that comes in has the same goals and the same visions that we were able to obtain here.